The Children's Eternal Rainforest forms the cornerstone of a 170,000-acre block of nature reserves located in the mountains of northwestern Costa Rica. These reserves protect all that is left of some of the most biologically rich forests on the planet. Outside this protected area, however, deforestation has continued unchecked. Today, the Children's Eternal Rainforest finds itself on an island of forest amidst a sea of eroded and inactive pastures. This isolation is putting the Children's Eternal Rainforest in jeopardy, for many animals critical to the health of the forest can no longer undertake essential seasonal movements to and from the mountain. Some of these animals are starting to disappear. If this tropical Eden is to be truly eternal, we must act now to establish a wildlife corridor through surrounding areas. We made this short message to explain why this cause is so important and to ask for your help. The Children's Eternal Rainforest is managed by the Monteverde Conservation League, a non-profit organization founded in 1986 by a handful of biologists. These biologists' dream was made reality by a group of Swedish school kids, whose efforts inspired a fundraising campaign by children all around the world. It is not hard to see how these forests would capture the imagination of a schoolchild, or of anyone else. Trunks and branches are festooned with air plants such as bromeliads, blueberries, African violets, and orchids. These forests are the seasonal home of the resplendent quetzal, a bird worshipped as a god by the Mayas and Aztecs and proclaimed by some to be the most beautiful bird in all the Americas. For half the year, this forest is also home for dozens of species of North American migrants, such as the Baltimore oriole and the summer tanager. These birds risk their lives in a 3,000-mile flight to reach the Children's Eternal Rainforest and the proposed corridor. What would happen if all these birds arrived here and the habitat no longer existed? Frogs protected here include the famous red-eyed leaf frog. These green-eyed frogs, like a number of other animals and plants, can be found nowhere else in the world. The exceptional diversity, uniqueness, and beauty of its flora and fauna is surely reason enough alone to cherish and protect the Children's Eternal Rainforest. There are plenty of other reasons. Another fundamental role of the forest is to protect the water supply, for it acts like a huge sponge that both collects water from moisture-laden clouds and protects precious topsoil from erosion during the area's frequent heavy rains. This forest is also valuable to people far away from Costa Rica. Tropical plants are rich in chemical compounds that could potentially be used in medicines and healthcare products. To date, less than 2% of these plants have been analyzed for medicinal potential, and yet those few have led to treatments for ailments such as Alzheimer's disease and several forms of cancer. The medicine chest of the Children's Eternal Rainforest has yet to be opened. And finally, of course, the plants of this forest consume vast quantities of carbon dioxide, one of the main causes of global warming. As a byproduct, plants release oxygen. It has been calculated that a single rainforest tree can produce enough oxygen for a human to breathe for 20 years. The Children's Eternal Rainforest protects thousands upon thousands of such trees. So now, the Children's Eternal Rainforest needs a hand. Its isolation from other forested areas hinders or even prevents animals from moving on and off the mountain. Scarlet macaws, for example, formerly seasonal visitors, haven't been seen in the children's rainforest in years. The gap between this forest and the macaws' regular home in the lowlands is simply too wide. Jaguars are all but gone from the area too. Without corridors, this protected area isn't big enough to support a genetically viable population. Every organism forms a link in multiple chains of interactions. When a single organism disappears, all those chains are broken. The children's eternal rainforest is too complex to function as an isolated fragment and too valuable to ignore. By protecting some of the remaining fragments and reforesting links between them, we can put back what we have taken away. A wildlife corridor, a lifeline for the children's eternal rainforest. It might well be our lifeline too.